Hmm. Take a bow, Dulquer Salmaan. Take a bow. Hi guys, this is Farhad and welcome back to my channel Popcorn Reviews. If you're new to this channel, then please smash that subscribe button now. And as a video ritual, remember to like and comment on the video. Liking and commenting helps fuel the YouTube algorithm. And today, the film that we are going to be discussing is the new Tamil Telugu bilingual film, which is called Kanta, which is starring Dulquer Salmaan in the lead, and it is directed by Selvamani Selvaraj. And the first word that I have to say about this film that it is spectacular. Despite the divisive reviews that were out, I personally found it to be absolutely spectacular. And much of it depends on the gaze that you want to witness this film from, whether from an investigative gaze purely or from a character driven perspective or a complex character study perspective, you can say. I chose the latter and I came out absolutely shell shocked. Wonderful film, spectacular film is what I can say if you can view it from a character study perspective. Now, coming to the story and screenplay, as I said, this is a character driven plot, so to say, and it is a character study also. It's actually a character study veiled as an investigative drama. And so, one of the interesting aspects that are used in this film are that of mirror reflections. The mirror reflections never lie, so to say. And so, in case of the character of Mahadevan, which is played by Dulquer Salmaan, you actually see the vulnerability as far as the artist is concerned. Dulquer Salmaan, the character of Mahadevan, is a superstar here, and he has already established himself in the industry, almost having 10 blockbuster films back to back that have he's been delivering. But the point of contention is also the point of conflict with respect to the character, something that you get to know slowly as you invest into his past. Mahadevan actually used to do street plays, and therefore he's so used to the audience's applause, which would indirectly equate it to the amount that he would get to satiate his hunger, that it almost translates into the trait on celluloid as well. So he's now gotten used to the audience's applause so much that he's conscious of his image. He doesn't want to experiment too much. Of course, his entourage is also almost praising him, and there are full of yes men. One of them even in a separate scene says that he's actually performed 16 different characters rather in the same film. And so these are the kind of yes men that he's surrounded by, which almost inflates his ego, so to say. And that is how most superstars are in the industry. I'm generalizing it, I'm not pointing towards anybody at all. But this is the character trait here, and therefore he becomes an interesting character because he doesn't do enough to hate him, but you also somewhere empathize with him. And I think this is the kind of balance that the character maintains. On the other hand, you have his guru, so to say, the character of Ayya, which is played by Samurati Kani, who's playing the character of the director here. I think here he again is an interesting character because the drama is mounted on a film set. It's a film within a film set in the 1950s, where Ayya plays the director here, and Dulquer Salmaan is the superstar here. So there is definitely an ego clash in play, and therefore when you actually see his character, you see the two dominating effects from both the sides. In a scene you see him telling the character of Mahadevan from the past that once the director calls for a cut, you stop acting. It basically means that he also wants to impose his opinion on the other person, almost like how a director ideally would in a film. It's the director's call. That's why the director's call the captain of the ship here. And therefore for him, for the character of Ayya, he plays God on the set, but he in turn witnesses the godly figure to erupt from Mahadevan, so to say, because of his fans, because of his popularity, that almost make him sort of a demigod on celluloid, a god of acting, as you would want to call it. And ironically, the first role that he offered, from the streets onto celluloid for Mahadevan was that of a character of a god on a film. So, in that sense also, you can see the kind of conflict that the character of Aya is going through as well, because there are no real directors in the real world to call it cut. So where does an actor pretend to stop acting and become a real person? That's kind of a little conflict that is in play as the film unfolds. The third wheel is that of the character of Kumari, and that is played by Bhagyashri Borse, and that character almost is a bridge between the two strong individuals. She tries to have that communication, bridge the communication gap, if I can say so, and it often doesn't really materialize in anything. But she's timid, she's a newcomer, and she wants to listen to the director, but she's also wants to have an affection towards the character of Dulquer Salmaan, who by the way wants to hijack the project and ghost directed himself and name the film that they are making called Kanta instead of Shanta. So it's a male dominated perspective as opposed to a female dominated perspective, eventually making them fall in love. Now when the film opens, and I'm taking you a little back to the start of the film, when the film opens, you hear a gunshot, and it almost reminds you of one of those Hitchcockian, tragedies that would transpire. But when you actually get used to the film and you understand that this is actually a Shakespearean tragedy, it's from one of the famous Shakespearean plays that are there. There was a Hindi, adaptation of that as well. I'm not going to reveal that because this is a spoiler-free review, but there is a essence of that play, which is that particular Shakespearean play in which is adapted here in a way, in a little subplot at the end when the revelation takes place. But the interesting perspective is how the lines blur between real and real, or the film within a film and the actual story that transpires in this film. Both have similar connotations, so much so that the interval block where they are shooting a scene wherein a character is killed, there's an actual character that gets killed, that triggers an investigation, the investigative drama that follows, that still deftly deviates through the character study, so to say. This is not a pure investigative drama, if I can call it myself. This is not a Knives Out mystery, if I can say so, because the themes that were established, the ego tussles, the issues of the film industry, everything is all in play. And this also becomes a study of some of the other characters, and you want to know what stakes do they have in the drama to have them acted in certain way, in the crime scene, so to say. And I think that makes for a rather interesting watch. Which brings me to the final act, and the final act is almost like a tragedy. It unfolds like a tragedy. I'm not going to reveal what it is, but there are themes of grief, there are themes of regret, of despair, all of it which comes into the picture. There's also a theme of a little ego which probably is conceded at the end, and I think that makes for a wonderful watch. But it will also divide the viewers. Again, if you're looking at it only from an investigative perspective, then I mean it's a pretty I wouldn't say straightforward totally, but it's still not exactly an investigative thriller, where a mystery is the main vehicle on which the drama is mounted. This is a character study. You have to remember, this is a character study, and therefore if you view it as a complex character study, the investigation also makes sense, because that acts as a medium in enhancing the character study in perspective. And in that regard, I feel that the story and screenplay is wonderful to witness here. Now coming to the technical aspects, the dialogues, the music and the direction, I think the dialogues have those meta references and the meta things that keep the the things going. It's set in the era of the 1950s, and therefore it's almost accordingly that the dialogues are penned, but the finesse with which they are penned does make for an impact, even when they are transpiring between the real and the real, the transition that happens. In a scene you see a character shouting, "You unregretful dog," which is also the line of the film that they are making in the film. So it's kind of the meta-ness also is nicely spilt over in the real life scenario of the film, and it makes for a good watch. I think the music and the BGM also leave an impact, accounting for the finer emotions in play and definitely leaving an impact as far as the music is concerned, it enhances the impact of the drama. The cinematography is beautiful here, often transitioning seamlessly between, monochrome to color features, from different aspect ratio to the regular aspect ratio that you see. The transitions are, seamless, and it doesn't disturb or hamper your viewing in any way. And that is where the credit of the cinematographer transpires. It's wonderful to witness. Even the production design, the grandeur of the sets, it's beautiful with the way they've shot, the color coordination with the corridors that are there. Everything is pitch perfect with the costumes. Everything is wonderful to witness here. Editing pattern, I would say the editing pattern is crisp and taut in the first hour, marginally has a few lags in the second hour, but I am willing to pass that, because the larger context of the film in terms of the character study is more powerful, and it actually sticks to that. It doesn't go on the regular tropes of the investigative drama, and for that I think the editing also is a green tick in the report card. Director Selvaraj, I think he does a wonderful job. Selvaraj does a wonderful job in the direction, because he doesn't want to commit to the regular tropes of an investigative drama, or a film within a film that you would usually equate it to. And the creative decision that he employs, in sticking to the character study, I think is fascinating here, because there are inspirations that he draws, one from a Shakespearean tragedy to something from a set, even from some real life references perhaps. But collectively he brings everything together and makes for a splash. And the character study that he embroiders in terms of the finesse that is there with respect to the traits of the character or the characters in this film is wonderful to watch. And it just makes me think that he is in total control of what he wanted to showcase, and it's a great outing by the director. Yeah, I absolutely love this product to the core. Coming to the performances, I think the performances are absolutely spectacular, spectacular. Even some of the smaller actors do their job well. Rana Daggubati, by the way, is having a ball here, and you can see from his playful banter that he's having a lot of fun in this film. He plays the investigating officer Phoenix, and I think he does a pretty solid job. Gayatri Shankar, who plays the character of Devi, the wife of Mahadevan, also maintains the poise of a character and performs a character with a lot of aplomb. Some of the other characters, also managed to impress. But Sanmu Kani, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. If I'm not, I'm apologizing for that. Who plays the character of Aya, the director, I think is in spectacular form. I think he is fiery and brings out his vulnerability with such, finesse and perfection that, it's hard, to distinguish the artist from the personality. And I think that is what he embroiders in this character. And I think he does a wonderful job here. Bhagyashri Borse, also in the character of Kumari, is sincere, earnest, and she exudes a little bit of an innocence that is there with her character, and I think she does a wonderful job here. You feel for her character, who's torn between two men, who she wants to please both of them, not please in the wrong sense, but make both of them happy in the creative process of making a film. And I think that is, she brings out a lot many emotions in that zone, and I think she does a pretty solid job. Her screen presence also is phenomenal. That brings me to Dulquer Salmaan. I think Dulquer Salmaan is always known for, these indifferent kind of choices. We saw last year he was invested in a film like Lucky Bhaskar that went on to probably was my favorite Telugu film of 2024. But here again, in this Tamil Telugu bilingual, does such a phenomenal job. The expressions that he brings, the poise that he brings, the body language that he exudes of, I think speaks volumes of the capacity of a performer like Dulquer Salmaan. He's wonderful to witness, brilliant to the core. Oh my god, whatever words that I say is not going to do justice to the kind and the caliber of the performance here, because this was such a complex character. He had to tread such a fine line here, between being empathetic but not too much, not really being affable but not enough to hate him either. That fine line that he treads, oh my god, you need an actor of a lot of skill to pull this off. And make no mistake, Dulquer Salmaan absolutely nails this role. He is spectacular spectacular in this film, and how I can praise him for an entire video and the video's length will just go through the roof. But he does a wonderful job here. So overall, I feel that Kanta is a wonderful little film. If you choose it to be a character study, it is a brilliantly complex character study that is veiled as a mysterious meta Shakespearean tragedy, so to say. There is an investigative element in the film as well, but at its crux, it is a character study. And if you treat it like that, then Kanta will manage to impress you. If you treat it just like an investigative drama, then it may not work. But for me, it has highly recommended. Kanta, highly recommended from my end. It's a wonderful film, perhaps one of the Tamil films of the year, I would say. It's wonderful to witness such a film, and it makes for a spectacular viewing experience. So if you've liked the video, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What was your theater response? I don't know, I think the responses has been a little mixed, so it will be a lot of fun, discussing different perspectives about the film. I have not revealed the spoiler, but if the demand is there, I will make a spoiler review later on. But in the meanwhile, you can let me know your thoughts on what did you make of the film in the comments. Remember to like/dislike the video based on what you felt about this video. Any interaction helps a small creator like me. You can also share this video with your friends and family. Ask them to subscribe to the channel. Let's grow this Digi family together. We are 90 odd subscribers away from the 4K mark. 4,000 subscribers is a big deal for me. I'm actually a nobody, but still the amount of love that you showered, thank you so much. My detailed review, by the way, of Kanta is available on my site, Popcorn Reviews with the double S, the link of which is in the description box below. Remember to read that as well, Popcorn Reviews with a double S. I'm repeating myself. You can also follow me in different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, and Nokio. All information is present in the description box. My captions are available on social media. My detailed review, the breakdown and the rating is available on my site. You can read the review in the language of your choice as well. Popcorn Reviews with a double S. That is it then from this video. I'll see you again soon with another video. Till then, take care of yourselves and thank you so much for your love and support. Cheers.